Welcome to our channel. Today, we'll be talking about the life and work of Avicenna. Avicenna was a Persian philosopher, physician, and scientist. He was one of the most influential thinkers of the Middle Ages. His work had a profound impact on medicine, philosophy, and science. Ibn Sina, who spent his whole life in rigorous pursuit of knowledge and study, born in a royal family, who could not be attracted by the lure of wealth, luxury and abundance, was the glory of the Muslims. His real name is Abu Ali al-Husayn ibn Abdullah ibn Sina. He is commonly known as Ibn Sina, Bu Ali Sina and Abu Ali Sina. He was born in 980 AD in the village of Afsana near Bukhara, a famous city in Turkey. His father's name is Abdullah and mother's name is Sitara Bibi. Father Abdullah was the ruler of Khorasan. He brought Ibn Sina to Bukhara shortly after his birth and arranged for his education. From his childhood, he had outstanding intelligence and talent hidden in him. At the age of 10, he memorized 30 verses of the Holy Quran. He had 3 tutors. Among them Ismail Sufi taught him theology, jurisprudence and tafsir, Mahmud Masa taught mathematics and the famous philosopher al-Nateli taught philosophy, jurisprudence, geometry, Ptolemy al-Majest, Jawahir Mantek etc. He gained all the knowledge at the age of 17 only. The famous philosopher al-Natali had no knowledge left to teach Ibn Sina. He then gave Ibn Sina his independent research. Now he began to collect medical books and research. Ibn Sina wrote in his autobiography that many days and nights passed during which he did not sleep for a moment. His focus was only in the pursuit of knowledge. If he ever did not understand something or faced a problem in a complicated matter, he would go to the mosque and perform the Nafil prayer and fall down in prostration and cry to Allah saying, "O Allah, open the door of my knowledge. I have no other desire in the world except to gain knowledge." No. Then he would come home and start research again. As he fell asleep from exhaustion, unsolved questions floated into his mind like a dream and the door of his knowledge opened. He used to get solutions to problems by waking up suddenly. At just 18 years of age, he created magic and medicine and healed the king. The king in gratitude opened the Kutub Khana for him in the royal court. In just a few days he memorized all the books of the library with infinite patience and concentration. There was nothing left of epistemology that he did not know. At the age of 19, he possessed infinite knowledge in science, philosophy, history, economics, politics, mathematics, geometry, jurisprudence, philosophy, medicine, poetry, etc. At the age of 21, he wrote an encyclopedia called Al-Mazmua, in which he recorded almost all subjects except mathematics. Ibn Sina's father Abdullah died in 1001 AD. At that time he was 22 years old. A political disaster befell him. He was forced to get involved in politics and in 1004 AD Ibn Sina took political refuge in Khwarizm. At that time the king of Khwarizm was Mamun bin Mahmud. He lived peacefully in Khwarizm from 1010 AD but his happiness and peace did not last long. When Ibn Sina's fame spread far and wide, Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni wanted him. Because Mahmud loved wise people very much. He used to invite them from the country and abroad to increase the glory of his royal court and gave them gems and pearls. To this end, Sultan Mahmud, through his chief artist Abu Nasr, created 40 portraits of Ibn Sina and sent letters with pictures to the princes of all Persia and Asia Minor so that they could find Ibn Sina. Sultan Mahmud sent people abroad. In addition, he sent a letter to Mamun bin Mahmud, the king of Khwarizm, indirectly instructing him to send the wise men in his court to Sultan Mahmud's court. In fact, his real intention was to find Ibn Sina along with other wise men. Ibn Sina was an independent and conscious person with self-respect. He had no greed for wealth, he was only addicted to the practice of knowledge. He was not willing to sell his freedom and honor to others. He did not know how to bow down to anyone unfairly, and he was not willing to accept anyone's opinion without reason. Even in matters of religion, he used to take decisions with the help of logic. So at that time, many people gave fatwas to him as kafir. In fact, Ibn Sina was a true Muslim. He composed a poem for those who called him kafir. In it he wrote, "I have no objection to those who call me kafir being famous in the world. But you will not find a worthy person like me. I also want to say that if I am a kafir, then there is no one in the world who can be called a Muslim. If there is a Muslim, I am that person." Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni was a powerful leader. Even other kings trembled in fear at his glory. So he did not agree to go to Sultan Mahmud's court in Ghazni, doubting whether Ibn Sina's freedom and honor would remain intact if he went to Ghazni. But thinking that he was not safe in Khwarizm, he fled from there with the help of Sultan Mamun bin Mahmud in 1015 AD and set off on an uncertain path. First he reached Abawadi, then Tus, Nishapur and then Gurgan. Coming here, he concentrated himself in writing books on various subjects. But his happiness and peace did not last here due to political reasons. He wandered from village to village and city to city seeking safe haven. But he did not agree to go to Ghazni. Finally, he went to a province called Rao. He started writing various books, but even here his happiness did not last. His pursuit of knowledge and writing of books were interrupted. Then he went first to Qasban and then to the city of Hamadan. It was here that he wrote his famous books, Shhefa and Al-Qanan. He took political asylum there. At that time, when the king of Hamadan, Shams-ud-Dawla, was afflicted with a serious disease, he was treated for 40 days and recovered from his coma. Gradually Ibn Sina became involved in politics and graced the ministerial seat of King Shams-ud-Dawla. Here too he faced the envy of the high-ranking people of the royal court because of his knowledge and skill. At one point the critics turned the army against him and demanded Ibn Sina's death sentence. The king realized that it was a deep conspiracy. But Shams-ud-Dawla could neither ignore the demands of the army nor execute Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina hid himself for safe shelter and spent 45 long days in indescribable suffering. Later, when the king fell ill again and the soldiers, realizing their mistake, sought out Ibn Sina and requested him to accept the ministerial position. After the death of Shams-ud-Dawla, in the course of time and events, he went into political asylum in Isfahan. At that time the ruler of Isfahan was Ala-ud-Dawla. He was overjoyed to receive Ibn Sina and made all necessary arrangements for him to practice knowledge. Here he began to study knowledge at a rapid pace and completed the unfinished works of the famous books, Shhefa and Al-Qanan. This thinker has written more than 100 books on physics, philosophy, theology, geometry, mathematics, medical science, literature, etc. Among these, Shhefa, Al-Qanan, Aryuza fit Tib, Lisanul Arab, Al-Majnu, Al-Mubadan Mayata, Al-Muqtasar al-Awasat, Al-Arsadul Kali are notable. Al-Qanan book brought a revolution in medical science in that era. Because no one else could write such a huge book in that era. Al-Qanan was translated into Latin, English, Hebrew, etc. and was included in the textbooks of medical universities in Europe at that time. Al-Qanan is divided into 5 large volumes with more than 4 lakh pages. The book explains the causes, symptoms and treatment of complex diseases in detail. In fact, he is the father of modern medical science. Shhefa is another precious piece of philosophy, divided into 20 volumes. Ibn Sina included everything from politics, economics, zoology and plant theory. He spent his life working for the welfare of mankind and the advancement of science and traveled in search of knowledge. He was the first to identify the disease meningitis. He discovered all the diseases that spread through water and land. He discovered the relationship between time and motion. He also studied Aristotle's philosophy well. But although he agreed with some of Aristotle's doctrines, he could not agree with all of them. He returned to Hamadan in the evening of life. He gradually became weak due to overwork and suffered from stomach pain. One day one of his servants mixed opium with medicine. His life force ended due to opium poisoning. In 1037 AD, the great sage and the world-famous Manishi breathed his last. He was buried in Hamadan. Quote,